Hi, I'm Eric Jaworski, founder and CEO of Family Home Gardens. Thank you for taking the time to sit down today and talk about the opportunity we feel exists in the market space today, and the solution that Family Home Gardens will bring to that. Over the next 15 minutes, my goal is to talk about the problem that exists, the solution we bring, what our target market will look like, the industry as a whole, who our competition will be, what our marketing and sales plan looks like, some milestones a business needs to reach to be successful, and our exit plan, as well as some financials of the business, what we're requesting for funding, and what you can expect for a return on investment. Again, thank you for your time. I look forward to our further discussion. Let's talk about that opportunity. Across the United States today, there's a growing social trend to be sustainable, environmentally responsible, and to invest locally. People want to know what goes into their groceries. They want to know that it's free of chemicals and carcinogens, things that could negatively impact their health and the health of their family. They've started investing in local farmers markets, and people are starting to realize they could grow their garden on their own. Across the United States today, home garden boxes are cropping up in backyards everywhere. People love to be able to feed their family, have a sustainable lifestyle that's environmentally responsible. We can help that consumer, because these people aren't carpenters, they're not farmers, and most importantly, they don't have the time to create the garden all by themselves. That's where Family Home Gardens comes in. So let's talk about that opportunity. Family Home Gardens is going to offer customized home garden boxes. Not just a square garden box. We're talking about a customized garden that's customized to their personal tastes, reflects their personality, fits into their landscape and their neighborhood, and is going to make it beautiful. We're going to offer a level of expertise that the average consumer doesn't have today. These people aren't carpenters, as we've talked about, so they're going to have, if they try to do this on their own, extra added in costs they never planned for, reworks and redos that they have to go repurchase things that they've already bought because they didn't do it correctly the first time. Our gardens are going to be beautiful. They're going to be customized. People will be able to enjoy their garden, not just work their garden. These customers that we're talking about are suburbanites who have families, jobs, kids. They have recreational activities that they want to get to and spend their time on, not working on building a garden. We're going to offer services post-installation, such as fertilization, whether that be environmentally responsible or your average fertilizer, weeding, when to plant, what type to plant, and then at the end of the season, we'll offer garden cleanup services. People can invest as much time as they want or as little time as they want. So who is our ideal customer? Significant market research and testing showed that suburbanites in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, specifically Anoka and Ramsey County, showed a very strong interest in this product. They have the interest in it, but they lack the time to do it on their own, and the know-how. They have the resources, but not the time. Our market research indicated that suburbanites with an income above $100,000 have a strong interest in this product, but lack of time to do so. These are people with kids, families, jobs. They don't want to spend their leisure time on creating a home garden. They want to spend it on leisure activities and recreational activities that they have fun doing with their families. The interest is there, but the time and know-how is not. The other part of our market research indicated that these people are not carpenters, they're not gardeners. They don't really know how to do this by themselves. They're also concerned about wasting time and money on redos and reworks, making mistakes that your typical average do-it-yourselfer is going to make. Also, with these type of individuals, they want something that's personalized, something that's customized, something that fits their personality, and that's where we bring in value. They're not going to spend extra money on mistakes, on reworks. It's going to look beautiful. It's going to meet their needs and represent who they are as a person. So I'd like to take a minute to talk about our industry. Family Home Gardens is poised to succeed in a market with low barriers to entry and strong post-recession growth. As the housing market recovers and disposable income increases, Family Home Gardens will be able to take advantage of the growing need for landscape services. Landscape services are growing at 3.3%, on par with current U.S. GDP growth rate of 3.9%, and exceeding the historical growth rate of 3.25%. It relies heavily on the health of the housing market and disposable incomes. Housing is growing at 7.4% in the Twin Cities market space after the economic downturn, and disposable incomes are on the rise. Industry growth is forecasted to remain stable at 3.3%, and profit margins will remain stable at 6.7% through 2020. The industry is in the mature phase of its life cycle, but that's not as big a concern as we are the first person to enter this market space, as no one is currently offering what we're offering today. The market is broken into 4 segments: commercial maintenance and general services, residential maintenance and general services, design build installation services, and arborist services. Our primary segment, design build installation services, makes up 13.8% of the industry and covers the maintenance and installation of lawn and garden features. Our other segment, residential landscaping, makes up 31% of the industry, which includes lawn maintenance, fertilization, and weed and pest control. Both sectors are forecasted to rise in the next 5 years, mostly attributable to the economic recovery and increase in disposable income. The industry is largely composed of sole proprietors, making up 3/4 of the industry. Large players in the market tend to go through acquisition to enter new regional markets, and few national players exist today. The number of companies forecasted to rise is forecast to rise at an annualized rate of 1.8% over the next 5 years. Operating conditions are low, except for regulation and policy, which is primarily predicated on OSHA requirements and state and local certifications. I'd like to spend a couple minutes talking about the competitive landscape for our industry. We have 5 main competitors. The first one, do-it-yourselfers. These are your average suburbanites that would go onto Pinterest, go onto YouTube, look at the plethora of videos out there on how to create their own personal garden box, go to Home Depot, buy the supplies, buy the dirt, go to a nursery, potentially there buy the vegetables or the plants that they would need, and then do the work on their own. These are not carpenters, these are not experts in the industry, and this is where we can really insert value. Where they would create just a regular garden box, we would create a beautiful garden that fits into their landscape. Our marketing efforts need to help them understand that we'll go well beyond what they can do on their own, and at not much more cost. The second competitor, landscape companies. Around the Twin Cities of Minnesota, there are a plethora of landscape companies. They offer a multitude of services from gardening, mostly lawn mowing, upkeep, that type of work. But it wouldn't be too hard for them to shift their business model to offer the additional gardening services, such as building a garden box, making it look nice. It would just be a pivot in their business. The third one, construction companies. Again, here, a lot of construction companies around here looking for work. They have the know-how to create and design stuff that fits into a landscape. So again, this would just be another pivot for them. Both of these customers could pivot their business structures fairly quickly to enter the market space. It would become stiff competition. The next one, consulting services. There are a lot of gardening companies in the Twin Cities, nurseries, that offer consulting today to sell plants. They will advise their customers on how to plant, when to plant, what kind of weeding is needed, what type of watering is needed. They could shift their business model as well to offer a consulting service for gardening, and at the same time they could also partner with a landscape or a construction company to offer a very similar product to ours. This would be a big threat to our market space if they were to join up. But there's one real big threat. The biggest threat we face is getting a customer to act. Oftentimes in the market space, customers want the service, but they just don't have enough motivation to act. Getting them to make that next step to act is going to be important to our success. To do that, once we have created a lead through our various marketing efforts, our sales team can step in and show the value that we provide to our customers to get them to do that next step, to say yes. So let's talk about our marketing strategy. Through significant market testing, we identified 3 major areas or ways that people buy landscape services. The first and largest by far was referrals. People like to know from their friends and neighbors what kind of company they're dealing with. Have they had good experiences? Is it a reputable company? Can they trust them? This was very strongly identified as important for our customer base. To that end, we're going to work early on to build up a strong referral base. We're going to offer early buyer incentives, and as customers refer more customers to us, they'll receive further incentives in the ways of discounted billing and other potential services. The second major way that people identified as buying landscape services was direct mail. Customers said they responded, and oftentimes it was customers who were thinking about the service and got a coupon in the mail or got that just that mailer that became that push to end up buying the service. To save costs up front, instead of using direct mail, we're going to utilize another resource in the Twin Cities. The Twin Cities has a very strong transit system. There are a lot of buses and light rail systems, and those have park and rides which carry our customers into the Twin Cities to work. These are ideal customer base. They work downtown, they're busy people. They make good incomes, but they lack the time to invest in a garden or create a garden on their own. To that end, we're going to leave our flyers on the windshields of cars in these parking rides. The last one, everyone identified the need for a strong web presence. Every customer out there said if a supplier does not have a good website, they lose trust in them automatically. We're going to make an investment to make sure that we have a strong, professional-looking website that customers will give us a good first impression with their customers. I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about our key developments and milestones that we need to reach to be considered successful, and then cover what our exit plan would look like. First off, we're going to start the hiring of our key employees, sharing our values and beliefs with them to make sure that they share those with our customers. Next, we'll open our doors in early 2016 and start securing sales by the third quarter of 2016. At the end of this year, we will introduce consulting services with the intent of securing business for next year. We plan to become profitable by the first quarter of 2018 and then add new territories in year 3, moving south into Hennepin and Carver County. The demographics of both these counties identify as large suburban communities with high incomes and large families, our perfect demographic. We'll exceed 1 million sales by our 4th year, and in our 5th year, start to execute our exit plan. Our exit plan has 2 scenarios. First, acquisition by a local nursery or gardening center. We could recognize economies of scale, and increased capital could see us take on more jobs. At the same time, the partnership would help grow both brand names and keep us a local brand. Second, and more profitable, would be acquisition by a local brand following the Geek Squad model and Best Buy. A Lowe's or Home Depot could buy us and launch us nationally. While less likely, this would be a more ideal path as it grows as a more higher profit margin and potential for our brand to become nationwide. I'd like to take a minute to talk about the financials of the business. Initially, we're going to request $600,000 in upfront investment. As I mentioned earlier, at that point we'll be able to open our doors in early 2016. In our first year, we're going to expect limited growth as we build our brand name, build our referral base, and continue to execute our marketing sales plan. But 2016 slow launch will prepare us for aggressive growth in years 2 and 3 and moderate growth in years 4 and 5. In year 2, as word of our product spreads, we'll start to see rapid growth. 60% of our surveyed customers expected strong interest in our product. As they became aware of our presence, sales will accelerate. In Q1 of our 2nd year, we expect sales to exceed $30,000, and in Q2, we're expecting to double over that amount. We expect 50% growth in Q3 and 33% growth in Q4. As we enter our 3rd year, we become profitable, and at that point, we expect growth to taper off to about 20%, and then decrease down to 15% in years 4 and 5. From a cost perspective, we expect our costs to grow with us. While we try to keep as many costs fixed, we expect most variable costs to rise between 3 and 5%. After year 3, all costs are expected to rise. Commissions are predicted to be 5% of sales, and cost of goods sold will remain steady at 10% of sales. Returns are expected to be 1% of sales, and our people will be our biggest cost, making it 82.5% of total costs. So let's talk about what we're asking for. As I mentioned, we're seeking an initial investment of $600,000. We require a minimum investment of $150,000 for anyone interested in investing in our organization. For every $15,000 invested, you receive 1% of the organization. We expect to reach profitability in 9 quarters, and as I mentioned, 5 years later, at the end of 5 years, we'll begin to execute our exit plan. So what do you get for investing in Family Home Gardens? Anyone with 20% ownership in the business gets a seat on the board of directors. As I mentioned, we'll be executing our exit plan in 5 years, and at which time we expect the value of the business to be at $1.9 million. So what does that mean for you for return on investment? At the end of 5 years, when we execute that exit plan, you'll receive 29% return on investment. Thank you for taking the time to sit down today and hear about the opportunity we feel exists in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. This is a lucrative opportunity, and I look forward to working with you. Thanks, and have a great day.